I'm doing okay, I guess. Um, I'm just watching TV right now. Um, so, um, what is this one?
Birch was rushed to the hospital Thursday after what the university is calling a catastrophic medical emergency after he was found late Wednesday night, unconscious on the floor of a Kappa Sigma fraternity house. A report just released by the Morgantown police shows Birch had a blood alcohol content of 0.49.
Was intoxicated, the lips are blue, face is showing a purple color, attempting CPR. I don't think anyone realized how intoxicated Tina actually was. I walk up to him, and I immediately noticed something was up, that something was weird. And I look at him, and I'm like, we need to roll him over, Jake. And I grab him and roll him over, and immediately I saw foam. His lips were completely swollen, like not swollen, but like blue. His tongue, and then that's when I looked at his hands. I knew when I saw his fingertips, I was like, okay, I need to do something. I checked his pulse. I said, Jake, I said, he's dead.
He was a small kid, but he was like, he had a big character. When you're standing next to him, he was bigger than you. You're walking into a party with him, and everybody knows no one. He's talking to the first kid. You go to the house, you're nervous, and no one's out there. Like, what's good? What up?
I was 20, at least 20 something, and he was like fresh out of high school, so I was already like at least 2 years. He comes up, he's like, "What up, bro? How you doing today?" And I'm just like, "Hey, what up, bro?" I didn't really know him that much, and he's just like, outgoing like that towards me. So I'm like, all right, I can rock with this kid a little bit.
He definitely lived life to the fullest. He had a youthful personality, always jovial and fun to be around.
Nolan was definitely the loudest person in the room at a party. Pretty energetic, pretty lit.
He wasn't arrogant. He wasn't stuck up. He was all around a good person, a nice guy.
Nolan would go out of his way all the time. Like even during pledging and stuff, he would be one of the first people to step up and just do and I'll help out with this. I'll take time out of my day to do this, and would always like if I even need help with like moving stuff or doing something quickly, I know I could just ask him and he would be over if he had nothing else going on right away.
He was willing to go out of his way for somebody. If you need a hand, if you need a helping hand, I got you.
All right, we've got fire department and ambulance all dispatched, okay?
Okay.
Do you continue doing CPR then?
Okay, that's what's great.
All right, thank you.
It was a little after midnight, and the phone rang, and I didn't get up. I don't know why. I didn't answer it. A few seconds later, it rang again, and I don't know why, but I didn't answer it again. I don't know if I knew what it was gonna be, or the third time it rang, and I was like, something's wrong.
She came running up with the phone. It was one of the frat brothers on the phone, and he
basically told me that there was a problem. I had to call the hospital. And I said, well, what happened? He said, it's Nolan. And I said, what? You know, what? He goes, he's in the hospital. I'd rather you just talk to the hospital.
That's when the hell all started, basically.
I eventually got in touch with the doctor and asked what happened, what's going on. I was told that, I need to call and I believe my son's in the hospital. And he said, yes, he went into cardiac arrest. And that right there kind of gave me a jolt that it still didn't sit with me. I'm like, well, how? And he said he had been in a party, been drinking or something. I'm not even sure exactly what he said. All I remember saying is, well, should we come down there? So in my head, I was thinking, he's going to be fine. Just the doctor, I'm talking to you on the phone, take care of my son. And I just remember him saying, you need to come. And obviously it hit me then, like, of course I need to go. He's went into cardiac arrest. He's in the hospital.
And then by the time we got to the hospital and the ER doctor met us, he was crying. And so when a doctor meets you and he's crying, that's not good. That's not a good sign. So kind of knew then that it wasn't going to be good.
He was telling us that Nolan is in intensive care. He's upstairs and he's on life support. That was like when it hit, kind of really, really hit. It's like, what in the world is going on right now?
We knew he came in with alcohol poisoning. So he was pledging in a fraternity, and it was the last night. It was the night that they were to meet their big brother. So they were taken, blindfolded, taken out of the fraternity house and taken over to another location. He was taken into a room by his big brother. There was a little sister in there. From what we know, he was given a bottle of whiskey, and that's all we know. We don't know what happened in that room. They're not telling us.
So the code of silence is something that I think human beings know. Even 4-year-olds know. When the teacher suddenly turns out the lights and says, who did that? Everybody's quiet. They kind of know not to tell the authority figure. And that kind of inbreeding between who's going to be reporting it and who you're calling and how safe are you and what is really anonymous is part of why we don't tell and why hazing doesn't get reported. And everybody is more concerned about saving their own ass than they are about taking care of the person who could be saved at that moment.
In SAE, in my fraternity, the number one rule was, you must protect the house. But, like in the case with Nolan, I mean, his pledge brothers seem to be prioritizing their allegiance to an organization that they're barely a part of for a short period of time over the life of a fellow human being, that they knew.
I just want to get that across to you. You understand the seriousness. There's a kid laying up there dying right now. I know. And you're worried about brothers that threw him on that plank, that stage, that piece of wood, like a piece of meat, and left him there, right? No, it's not. You haven't seen the video. We've seen the video. It's disgusting what happened to him. So anything you're trying to protect, brothers, trust me, don't waste your breath trying to protect them. They don't deserve it.
It seems to me that kids have been drinking and getting drunk on college campuses forever and mixing them with drugs and alcohol all the time. What people have to understand when they hear that somebody died from an overdose of alcohol is that that kid did not choose to drink that much alcohol. That kid was coerced by their fraternity brothers who were supposed to be part of the family and take care of them to drink X amount of alcohol in Y amount of time. Much, much, much more alcohol than they would have normally in a much shorter amount of time. And that's what's killing kids.
I've seen a variety of kind of counter-arguments and theories that get trotted out. Oh, I wanted to drink all this. Oh, nobody was making me do it, right?
Well, when we got there, our days gave us a bottle. Everybody had like different stuff. And we were just drinking what our big sister, big brother, they bought the bottle for us. And they told you what? Drank them
My name is Dr. Joshua Dower. I'm the Director of Pediatric Supportive Care at WB Medicine Children's. I believe that Nolan's alcohol level was so high that he probably could not maintain consciousness. He would have been in a deep state of sleep to a place where it would have been very hard or impossible to wake him up to a level where he could function and carry on a conversation or walk for himself.
We were in touch with the Morgantown Police Department. They did tell us that they did have someone in the house who was cooperative, which is good. They had retrieved the video. I think that kind of shed a lot of light on who was there, kind of what happened, what the timeline was, all that other kind of stuff.
He lost bodily function. They thought that was funny. Losing your bodily functions, alcohol, you're dying. And then turning blue, and that's when they finally called for somebody to come help. Paramedics came and they worked on him from what we understand quite a while, and then transported him over to Ruby Memorial.
So Nolan was admitted to the intensive care unit, and the intensive care nurses were really concerned. You know, here we know what the final outcome is as we're having this conversation, but in those moments we didn't know how serious things were. So we were really managing a lot of uncertainty.
That's disturbing, like to know that there were so many people in that house and walking around and seeing someone laying there like that and not calling for help. Not only were they watching, they were kicking, jumping up on the table, taking pictures, Snapchats, sending them to their friends. I mean, they thought that was funny. I'll never understand that. They could take a photo of somebody soiling themselves, but they couldn't call 911.
You know, why is he laying there like this? Somebody should have done something and could have done something.
What I would say to the kids that were in the frat that night or any other night before then and after that is that like nothing is worth the risk of not taking it seriously. I mean, I understand you don't want to lose your kind of social capital in that world. You don't want to seem lame, but any fear that you might have in the future of having been the guy who, you know, pulled the alarm on something, that will be nothing compared to the feeling that you had later in life, knowing that you could have done something to save one of your friends' lives, but you didn't.
I go back to not even when he was laying down. It was when they were bringing him in. He obviously needed major help. He was lifeless. That is the inconceivable part to me.
We were actually told that if he had been taken right to the hospital, that he probably would be here right now. I've gone over it a million times. What were they thinking? And I don't know. I don't know you'd have to ask them.
Some of the signs that, that he was in trouble just boggle my mind is they thought it was comical. I mean, limp, not moving, had soiled himself. Like, this is all funny to them, as opposed to this kid needs some help and needs help immediately.
I wish I could go back in time, and I wish one of the kids there would have understood if someone is breathing less than 8 times a minute, because we don't usually count our breathing, but imagine, normal person is breathing 14 to 20 times a minute. But if you're impaired with alcohol, your breathing may slow down and can eventually stop. Your heart rate, your pulse can slow down and can eventually stop when you have alcohol levels this high. You are not going to be able to speak. You're not going to be able to move. You are going to be in a state of unconsciousness that if the people around him had been fully sober, monitoring this environment and checking anyone that appeared impaired, they would have seen that on the spectrum of impairment, someone on a couch that you can wake up is very different from someone that is laid out and is unresponsive and you can't wake them up. If you can't wake someone up pretty much for any medical reason, you need to call 911 because they probably need a doctor or someone to help them or they might die.
I'm not sure if it's, a desensitization because of social media, because of everything that's out there, because of attention spans that aren't there, or is it the alcohol that was involved? Because almost everybody there was drunk, even though there were supposed to be people that weren't, that were to watch out for things like this. Nobody got help until it was way too late.
There's a lot of talk about leadership, what leadership means, or will we create leaders, the next generation of leaders, but it's all kind of empty talk, right? there needs to be some kind of role in the fraternity where the role of that brother during that process is to advocate for the health, for the sanity of their pledges, not even just purely out of care for other people, which you hope that they would have, but even if you are callous to that, but you care about your fraternity and you care about your school, you care about your culture, right? You want to make sure that what happened to Nolan doesn't happen to your guys. You want to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone.
Anything that could go wrong that night did. And then at the end of the day, nobody got him any help.
Like I said, we wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation if one person had made a call. One. We'd have our son.
That's the hard part. That's the struggle, too, because you wonder if you did enough as a parent. We had those conversations with Nolan. It's flat out, here's one thing that you do not do. And it's exactly how he died. It's chugging a bottle of alcohol.
As a mother, you're supposed to protect your kids. And to think that he was laying there and I wasn't with him, to think that I couldn't protect him from what they did to him, I mean, I would have taken his spot in a second. I would have taken his spot in a minute. He was too good. He didn't deserve that.
You wake up every day and it's like there's a hole. You can never, ever fill it. It truly is an emptiness. I mean, he's gone. He's gone and he's never coming back. I lost my only son. I don't have a son anymore. I don't have anybody to carry on the name or to do whatever. I don't have a little boy. I don't have my boy that I can hug and smell and talk to and mess around with. He's gone. And it's indescribable to tell you how I feel. It's the most horrible. The horrible's not even a word. It's beyond horrible. So think of the worst nightmare and then go 20 times beyond that. That's what it feels like.
You're not supposed to bury your kid. You're just not. There's nothing right about any of it. It's not right.
It makes you angry. It makes you angry at yourself. I was angry, and maybe still am a little bit, at Nolan. I'm like, come on, kid, you know better than this. What in the world happened? You're definitely angry at the people that were with him. And then eventually you realize you can't really hold on to the anger. All you can do is to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else.
I try to imagine sending my son off to college and having him die 3 months later and figuring out how I would go forward and live my life. I'm a palliative care doc and I'm not sure.
This is the kind of event that, kind of weighs on you over time, and it makes no sense. It didn't have to happen. I don't think people can understand, because when you see somebody who's 19, 20 years old, whose life is just beginning, being taken away by, in my opinion, a stupid event that could have been addressed in safer ways. But what happens is you get young people and alcohol and stupidity takes over, and you can't always cure stupid. So we try to work around it and try to educate people. It's unfortunate these tragedies happen, but it happens across this country. The one thing, if there's anything we could do, it's just to get people to understand that hazing is not a ritual. It's not something that benefits anybody. It's criminal, and it's against the law. It hurts people, and in this case, a young person lost his life for no good reason. Hazing has to stop.
I don't look at it as hazing, honestly. In the big picture, just the way I was brought up. I played sports my whole life, so you needed to fit in.
So there are two things here. When someone has participated in a hazing and then they rewrite it, so, oh no, it was his own free will to drink that full bottle of whiskey within 10 minutes while somebody was there making sure that he did it, or many people were there saying more, and surrounding him and absolutely giving him no choice. For them to then walk away with a halo and pretend that he chose to do that. But the second part of hazing that is very difficult to explain to any audience is consent. There is no such thing as consent in a hazing, because the hazing is by definition hidden, mysterious, anxiety-provoking. We do not tell you in advance what we're going to do to you. We don't tell you how much we're going to hurt you, how much we're going to humiliate you.
Because once you're intoxicated, as far as the law is concerned, you can't, you can't consent to signing a contract. You can't consent to even you can't even consent to having sex with someone in the world as it's moving now.
The thing is, there's always an open door policy. Like, if you're not comfortable with what's going on, like, you're more than welcome to leave. Like, no one would ever force you. It's like you're not a part of this anymore, but you're more than welcome to leave. So
I remember one night we had to clean out like a bunch of different rooms, and like that was kind of like the hazing thing. And this kid was like, "I don't want to do this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like so tedious." And he left that night. My mentality's different than other kids. Like, I like doing that hardcore shit, the hazing thing. And this kid was like, "I don't want to do this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like so tedious." And he left that night. My mentality's different than other kids. Like, I like doing that hardcore shit. I like building a team. I like building around other people, but not everybody does. So like they joined the fraternity, and like that kid walked out that night, but like he wasn't really liked anymore. And like that's something that probably should change.
I think that the open door policy is more of a theory, and the theory is more of a myth. I think a lot of frats do say, everything is voluntary. You can leave whenever you want. Won't be held against you. That's what they could say in theory, but in practice, I don't think that really ends up being.
Da ist Aurora. Sie ist schon hier. Und Philipp, dieser Bursche. Hier? Und Philipp, dieser Bursche. Was soll denn das wieder heißen? Das ist doch wirklich... Bin ich denn noch betrunken? Ich kann sowas nicht verstehen.
Aber Paula, was ist denn mit dir los?
Weißt du, ich finde immer ein Happy End so